The envelope in my jacket weighs 3 ounces. I know because I've been carrying it for 3 days, ever since Alex Harrington's funeral, and it feels heavier every time these board members open their mouths. I'm standing in the back of St. Paul's Cathedral, watching a bunch of suits pretend to mourn the man who built Harrington systems from nothing. The choir's singing some hymn, but all I can hear is the whispered conversations in the front rows. Bryce Wellington sitting there with his Harvard MBA smile, the one he thinks makes him look sympathetic. Next to him are Phillips and Coleman checking their phones like they're at a shareholders meeting instead of a funeral. Alex wasn't just my boss. He pulled me out of the worst period of my life 18 years ago. Fresh out of the Marines, I was struggling to figure out what a former infantry captain was supposed to do in the civilian world. Everyone else saw a rigid military guy who couldn't adapt to corporate culture. Alex saw potential. Reynolds, he'd said during my interview, "I don't need another MBA who can talk strategy but can't execute. I need someone who understands how to lead people when things get tough." That was Alex. Cut through the noise, focus on what mattered. He built Harrington Systems into a defense communications company that employs 400 people, good people, many of them veterans like me. We design and manufacture secure communication systems for military and government contracts. Real work that keeps soldiers connected and safe. The board's been circling for months, ever since Alex's first heart attack last year. They keep using words like optimization and restructuring, but I've seen their confidential memos. What they really mean is slash and burn. Move manufacturing to Mexico, eliminate our R&D department, sell off the veteran hiring program Alex was so proud of. 3 days before his final heart attack, Alex called me into his office. I'd been COO for 8 years by then, basically running day-to-day operations while he focused on strategic partnerships with the Pentagon. "Sam," he said, sliding a manila envelope across his oak desk, "I need you to take this. Don't open it unless something happens to me." His breathing was already getting bad, but his mind was sharp as ever. I tried to argue. Alex was only 68, still had fight in him. But he cut me off with that look he used to give junior officers who thought they knew better. "Promise me," he said. So I promised. Marines don't break promises to their commanding officers, even former ones. Now here I am, 3 days after the funeral, sitting in the boardroom for what I thought was a routine transition meeting. Bryce is at the head of the table, acting like he already owns the place. The other board members are nodding along like bobbleheads while he flips through a presentation titled Harrington 2.0, Optimization Strategy. "Gentlemen," Bryce says, not even looking at me, "we need to discuss some structural changes to position the company for maximum efficiency. I've been through enough briefings to recognize incoming artillery, the corporate equivalent anyway." Bryce clicks to his next slide. "Our analysis shows significant redundancies in middle management and operational oversight. The COO position, specifically, represents an outdated command structure that doesn't align with modern corporate governance." Modern corporate governance. Right, translation. We want to gut everything Alex built and sell it off piece by piece. "Sam," he continues, finally turning my way with that fake sympathetic smile, "your service to this company has been adequate. But we're moving in a new direction. One that requires fresh thinking, agile leadership." Fresh thinking. I've heard that phrase before. Usually right before someone with an MBA and no real-world experience starts explaining why 20 years of proven methods need to be thrown out. "The board has voted," Phillips adds, like he's announcing the weather. "Effective immediately, your position is being eliminated. We're restructuring the entire operations division under new leadership." I sit there for a second, letting it sink in. 18 years. Missed family dinners, missed my nephew's Little League games, missed anniversaries with Sarah, all for this company. All to get dismissed with corporate buzzwords by people who've never run anything more complex than a PowerPoint presentation. "I see," I say, keeping my voice level. "Military training kicks in. Never let them see you rattled. And the severance package?" Bryce waves his hand like he's swatting a fly. "Standard corporate policy. 2 weeks pay. HR will have the paperwork ready within the hour. 2 weeks. For 18 years of building this place up, keeping it running when we lost that major contract in 2019, training the people who actually know how to make things work. You'll need to turn in your badge and clear out your office today," Coleman adds. "Security will escort you to ensure all proprietary materials remain secure." That's when it really hits me. They're not just firing me. They're humiliating me, making sure everyone sees the old guard getting marched out like a common criminal. Send a message to anyone else who might resist their optimization. I stand up slowly, button my jacket over the envelope that's been burning a hole in my chest for 3 days. Understood. The walk to my office feels like a parade of shame. People I've worked with for years are staring, whispering. Linda from accounting looks like she's about to cry. Rodriguez from the production floor gives me a nod. The kind Marines give each other when words aren't enough. "This is bullshit, sir," Rodriguez mutters as I pass. "Former staff sergeant, lost his leg in Afghanistan, been with us 6 years. These corporate types don't know what they're doing." "Easy, Rodriguez," I tell him. "Don't give them a reason to come after you too." But he's right. These corporate types have no idea what they're about to destroy. My office looks smaller than usual. 18 years condensed into a cardboard box. Family photos, my old Marine Challenge coins, the coffee mug my nephew made me in shop class. I'm packing it all up when I remember the envelope. I lock the door, pull it out, and open it for the first time. Inside is a stock transfer document. Legal, notarized, signed by Alex 3 months ago. I read it twice before it sinks in. 51% of Harrington Systems. Controlling interest. The whole damn company. There's a note in Alex's handwriting. "Sam, they'll try to destroy what we built. Hold steady until the storm passes. Execute when ready. A.H." My hands are steady, but my mind's racing. 3 months ago, while I was focused on the quarterly production reports, Alex was planning this operation. He knew what was coming, knew the board would make their move the second he was gone. I fold the papers, put them back in the envelope, and finish packing my box. When security shows up, 2 guys I've known for years, looking embarrassed as hell, I walk out with my head high. Let them think they won. That night, I'm sitting in my kitchen, documents spread across the table. Sarah's at her book club, so it's just me and the truth. My phone buzzes with a text from Rodriguez. "Sir, rumor mill's going crazy. They saying you got fired for questioning the new efficiency measures." I text back, "Stand by. Things aren't always what they seem." Then I call Gregory Patterson. Greg's been the company's outside counsel for 10 years. Former JAG officer who understands chain of command. More importantly, he was Alex's personal attorney. "Greg, it's Sam Reynolds. I need to see you tomorrow morning. Early. It's about Alex's estate." "Sam, I was sorry to hear about your situation. Bryce called me earlier, said they were making some personnel changes to modernize the leadership structure." "Yeah, well, things might not be exactly what they seem. Can you meet me at Murphy's Diner at 7 before you head to the office?" There's a pause. In the background, I can hear his kids watching TV. This sounds important. It is. The next morning, I'm sitting across from Greg in a booth at Murphy's, watching him read through the documents. His JAG training kicks in as he checks every signature, every seal, every date. "This is legitimate," he says finally. "Alex transferred majority control to you 3 months ago. Everything's properly executed, witnessed, notarized, filed with the state corporate commission last week. So what does that mean, practically speaking?" Greg leans back, and for the first time since I've known him, he's smiling. "It means you own the company, Sam. 51% controlling interest. Every major decision has to go through you, including personnel changes at the executive level. What about the board meeting where they fired me? Technically invalid. They don't have the authority to terminate senior management without majority shareholder approval." He flips through more pages. "And according to this addendum, Alex specifically designated you as chairman of the board, effective upon his death." I'm starting to see the full scope of Alex's strategy. The man was always 3 moves ahead. While Bryce was planning his corporate takeover, Alex was positioning me for a counteroffensive. "There's more," Greg continues. "Alex restructured the corporate bylaws 6 months ago. Any major asset sales, workforce reductions over 10%, or changes to company mission require board approval and majority shareholder consent. So their optimization plan, dead in the water without your signature. I think about all those good people who are going to lose their jobs if Bryce gets his way. Rodriguez and his crew in production, Linda and the accounting team. The young engineers in R&D who just graduated college and are paying off student loans. Here's what we're going to do," I tell Greg. "I want to call an emergency board meeting tomorrow morning, and I want you there as my legal counsel." "What's the agenda?" I think about the last 18 years, about Alex's trust, about the Marines who taught me that you never leave anyone behind. Regime change. That afternoon, I drive out to the company. Not the main building, I'm not ready for that yet, but the production facility where Rodriguez works. I find him in the break room during shift change, still looking angry about yesterday. "Rodriguez, walk with me." We head outside to the parking lot. Guy's been with us 6 years, ever since he got out of Walter Reed. Lost his leg, but not his drive. Alex personally recruited him from a veteran job fair. "Sir, what they did to you was wrong." Everyone's talking about it. Guys are saying if they can fire you, nobody's safe. What else are they saying? Rodriguez looks around, makes sure we're alone. Word is they're planning major layoffs. maybe half the production staff, moving manufacturing overseas to cut costs. The new guy, Wellington, he's been asking questions about our defense contracts, whether they're tied to domestic production requirements. Smart questions. Our Pentagon contracts do require American manufacturing and security clearances for key personnel. Move production overseas, lose the contracts. They held a management meeting this morning, Rodriguez continues. Brought in some consulting firm from Boston. McKinsey, I think. Guys in expensive suits taking notes about everything. McKinsey, Bryce's old firm. The same outfit that's been optimizing American companies for decades, usually by eliminating American jobs. Rodriguez, I need you to do something for me. Keep your ears open. Any meetings, any memos, anything about restructuring plans. Can you do that? Yes, sir. Absolutely. And Rodriguez, tell the guys to stay steady. Things might get interesting before they get better. That evening, Sarah and I are having dinner when she asks the question I've been dreading. So what's the plan, Sam? You going to start looking for another job? 26 years of marriage. She knows when I'm holding something back. I reach into my jacket pocket and slide the stock transfer document across the table. She reads it slowly, her eyebrows rising. Sam, this says you own the company. 51% of it. Alex gave you controlling interest? When? 3 months ago. I just found out yesterday. Sarah sets down the papers, studying my face. And you're going to use this how, exactly? I'm going to save those jobs. All of them. And I'm going to make sure Alex's legacy doesn't get sold off to the highest bidder. She nods slowly. It's going to be a fight. Yes, it is. You sure you want this? You could sell your shares, walk away rich, retire early. I think about Rodriguez, about Linda from accounting, about all the young engineers who remind me of the Marines I used to lead. Some fights are worth having. The next morning, I walk into that boardroom like I'm reporting for duty. Same table, same chairs, but everything's different now. Greg's beside me with the briefcase full of legal documents. Bryce and his crew are already there, looking annoyed that their terminated COO had the audacity to request a meeting. Gentlemen, I say, taking my seat. Not at the side where I used to sit, but at the head of the table. Thanks for accommodating the emergency session. Bryce frowns, straightening his Harvard Business School tie. Sam, I'm not sure why you're here. As we discussed yesterday, your employment has been terminated. This is highly irregular. About that. I nod to Greg, who slides a folder across the polished mahogany. I think you'll want to review these documents before we proceed. Bryce opens the folder and I watch his face change. Confusion first, then disbelief, then something that looks like panic. Phillips is reading over his shoulder, his face going pale. Coleman's just staring at me like I grew a second head. What is this supposed to be? Bryce's voice cracks slightly. Stock transfer agreement, properly executed and filed with the state. I now hold 51% controlling interest in Harrington Systems. The room goes dead quiet. I can hear the air conditioning humming, someone's coffee cup rattling against a saucer. This is impossible, Bryce says, but he's lost that confident tone. Alex would and did 3 months ago. Seems he had some concerns about the direction certain board members wanted to take the company. Bryce stands up, his composure finally cracking. You can't just waltz back in here and... Actually, I can. I lean back in my chair, feeling steadier than I have since Alex died. As majority shareholder, I have full authority over all major corporate decisions, including personnel changes. Phillips clears his throat. Bryce, maybe we should know. Bryce's face is red now. This company needs modern leadership. We can't keep operating like it's 1985. The defense industry is changing, contracts are getting more competitive. We need to streamline, eliminate redundancies. You mean eliminate people? Yes, if necessary. Business isn't about feelings, Reynolds. It's about profit margins and shareholder value. I pull out a copy of their confidential restructuring memo, the one Rodriguez helped me obtain. Interesting reading, Bryce. Especially the part about moving manufacturing to Mexico and selling off our R&D division to fund short-term dividend payments. How did you... Coleman starts, then stops. I've been COO for 8 years. You think I don't know what goes on in my own company? I slide the memo across the table. Page 3 is particularly enlightening. The section where you calculate that laying off 300 employees will boost quarterly earnings by 12%. Greg clears his throat. My client would like to make some personnel announcements. I stand up, feeling the weight of command settle on my shoulders. Same feeling I used to get when briefing my Marines before a difficult mission. Effective immediately, Bryce Wellington is removed from the board of directors. His consulting contract is terminated. Bryce's face goes from red to purple. You can't do this. Actually, I can. Majority shareholder privilege. Phillips and Coleman, you're also relieved of your positions. This company will fail without proper management. Bryce is practically shouting now. You're stuck in the past. You don't understand modern market dynamics. I look at him for a long moment. Guy's 38 years old, MBA from Harvard, worked at McKinsey for 6 years before joining our board. On paper, he's everything a modern executive should be. But he's never run a production line, never had to explain to a veteran employee why their job might disappear, never had to look someone in the eye and promise their work matters. You know what I understand, Bryce? I understand that this company employs 400 people. Good people who show up every day, do their jobs, and trust us to make decisions that keep their families fed. Your optimization plan would have eliminated 3/4 of those positions. Those are inefficiencies, redundancies that drag down profitability. Those are human beings. Rodriguez down in production, Guy lost his leg serving his country, and we gave him a chance to contribute something meaningful. Linda in accounting, single mother supporting 2 kids. The engineering team you wanted to offshore. Half of them are recent graduates paying off student loans, trying to build careers. Bryce gathers his papers, hands shaking with anger. You're making a catastrophic mistake. This company needs to evolve or it'll die. The defense industry is consolidating, margins are shrinking. You can't compete on sentiment. Maybe, but we're not going to die on my watch by betraying the people who built this place. After they leave, I sit alone in the boardroom for a few minutes. Greg's gone to file the paperwork that makes it all official. Outside the windows, I can see the production floor where the real work gets done. First shift's coming in, guys like Rodriguez who believe their work matters. My phone buzzes. Text from Rodriguez. Sir, something big happening? Wellington just stormed out of the building carrying a box. Looked madder than a wet cat. I text back. Emergency all-hands meeting at 0900. Pass the word. An hour later, I'm standing in front of the entire company. All 400 employees crammed into the main assembly area. Production workers in their coveralls, engineers in their polo shirts, office staff in business casual. I've given briefings to Marines before combat operations, but this feels bigger somehow. These people trusted Alex, and now they're looking to me. Morning, everyone. I know there's been confusion about recent leadership changes. I want to clear things up. The crowd's restless. Word travels fast in a place like this, and they know something significant is happening. As of today, I'm serving as Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Harrington Systems. The previous board's restructuring plan has been permanently canceled. Nobody's losing their jobs. We're not selling any divisions. We're staying exactly what Alex Harrington built us to be. The cheers start in the back from the production floor where Rodriguez and his crew work. It rolls forward like a wave until the whole place is erupting. Rodriguez is grinning, giving me a thumbs up. Linda from accounting is crying, but good tears this time. Alex left this company to all of us, I continue when the noise dies down. Not to maximize quarterly profits for some consulting firm, but to build something that lasts, something we can be proud of. That's what we're going to do. After the announcement, I'm walking back to what's now the CEO's office when Rodriguez intercepts me in the hallway. Sir, need to tell you something. Word is Wellington's been on the phone with his McKinsey contacts. They're not done fighting. What kind of fight? Legal challenges, sir. Questioning the stock transfer. And there's talk about trying to get some of the Pentagon contracts reviewed, claiming the company's unstable under new management. I nod, should have expected this. Guys like Bryce don't go quietly. Keep me posted on anything else you hear. The next few weeks are a chess match. Bryce files a lawsuit challenging the validity of Alex's stock transfer, claiming undue influence and diminished capacity. Their lawyers drag out every medical record from Alex's last year, trying to prove he wasn't competent when he signed the documents. Greg Patterson earns his fees during this period. Turns out Alex was more thorough than we realized. Not only did he have Dr. Morrison document his mental competency the day before signing, he also recorded a video statement explaining his reasoning. I've built this company over 40 years, Alex says in the recording, sitting in his office, looking tired but sharp. I've seen what happens when Wall Street efficiency experts get their hands on American manufacturing. They strip out the people, move the work overseas, and walk away with their bonuses while communities die. I won't let that happen to Harrington Systems. The judge watches the entire 20-minute video. When it's over, he denies Bryce's challenge without hesitation. But the real test comes when we start implementing changes. I promote Rodriguez to production supervisor. Guy knows the floor better than anyone. Linda gets the controller position she's been ready for since before Alex died. Most importantly, we start the expansion Alex had been planning before his health declined. Here's what we're going to do, I tell the management team during our first strategy session. We're doubling down on what works. Our Pentagon contracts require domestic production and security clearances. That's our competitive advantage. The engineering team, led by Jennifer Walsh, 32 years old, MIT graduate who Bryce wanted to replace with offshore contractors, presents a proposal for next-generation encrypted communication systems. The military's moving toward integrated battlefield networks, she explains. Every soldier, every vehicle, every drone needs to communicate securely. We can build those systems here with our people. What's the investment required? $20 million over 2 years. We'll need to hire 50 more engineers, expand the R&D lab, upgrade our manufacturing capabilities. It's a big bet, the kind that makes boards nervous and consultants reach for their calculators. But it's also the kind of long-term thinking that built this company in the first place. Do it. 6 months later, we land the largest contract in company history. $200 million over 5 years to develop and manufacture next-generation battlefield communication systems. The Pentagon specifically cited our domestic production capabilities and experienced workforce as deciding factors. The day the contract announcement hits the news, my phone starts ringing. Other defense contractors wanting to know how a mid-sized company beat out the major players. Financial analysts asking about our transformation strategy. Even a reporter from the Wall Street Journal wanting to write about our unconventional approach to corporate restructuring. But the call that matters most comes from Sarah. Saw the news, congratulations. Thanks. Couldn't have done it without the team. And how are you handling all this? Really, it's a good question. The last 6 months have been a blur of board meetings, legal battles, strategic planning, and late nights. But for the first time in years, I'm not just managing crisis. I'm building something. I'm good, better than I've been in a long time. That evening, I'm cleaning out some of Alex's old files when I find another note, tucked inside his copy of On War by Clausewitz. This one's dated the day before he died. Sam, if you're reading this, then the plan worked. I always knew you were the right person to carry this forward. The board wanted someone who would optimize spreadsheets. I needed someone who would optimize for people. Trust your instincts. Take care of our employees. Build something that lasts. The company's in good hands. AH. I fold the note and put it in my wallet next to the other one. Some things you keep close. A year later, we've expanded to 500 employees. The veteran hiring program Alex started has placed over 200 former military personnel in manufacturing and engineering positions. Our stock price has increased 40%. More importantly, we're building equipment that keeps American soldiers safe and connected. Bryce landed at another company, probably telling people how he would have optimized Harrington's systems if the old guard hadn't interfered. Doesn't matter. Some fights are worth having and some hills are worth holding. I keep Alex's notes in my wallet as reminders, not of what I achieved, but of what's possible when you stay steady under pressure and remember that leadership isn't about maximizing quarterly results. It's about the people counting on you to get it right. Rodriguez stops by my office most Friday afternoons for coffee and to discuss production schedules. Last week he mentioned that his daughter wants to study engineering, maybe work for the company someday. Tell her we'll be here, I said. Building things that matter. The company's in good hands. Alex's legacy is secure. And 400 families, now 500, go home every day knowing their work matters, their jobs are safe, and someone has their back. That's worth more than any efficiency optimization a consultant could design. That's what leadership actually looks like. The envelope that started this whole thing is framed now, hanging on my office wall next to Alex's photo. 3 ounces of paper that changed everything. Sometimes the smallest actions carry the biggest weight. Hold steady until the storm passes. Execute when ready. Mission accomplished, sir.